Silent. Quiet on set. Here we go. Hello and welcome everybody to Flicker Effect, episode 352. We are recording this and broadcasting live on Sunday, December 20th, 2020. I'm David Lott. Joining me as always is Bobby Jackson.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yasha Wilson.
Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas, everybody.
And Michelle Hillard. How's it going?
Hi, everybody. Merry Christmas. It's Christmas time. It's a Christmas party.
We are going to have a little Christmas party live tonight.
This is our first one.
Yeah, we haven't done like a Christmas episode. And it's funny, I thought about it this week, and we're coming up on Christmas, and I was like, oh, you know what? We should probably do a Christmas theme thing, which is, I'll fully admit, was somewhat inspired by the fact that I was listening to Howard Stern's Christmas episode before his break. And I was like, I was listening to that going, why have we never really done that on the show? Like,
Had a Christmas party.
like we've never done like a Christmas themed episode right before Christmas. I don't know. I part of me, and then the more I thought about it, I was like, maybe it has to do with the fact that normally, a normal year around this time, there would be so much to talk about in terms of new movies that we've been watching.
True.
That maybe that's why we just are like, hey, we're focusing on this new Star Wars film or this new comic book film or
Very true.
these, award contenders and getting ready for our top 10 lists. And maybe that's why it's just something that's never crossed our minds. I don't know. But,
And then
it's our
also
first time
just
doing
the
that.
fact
I
that
thought we had
Christmas-
done a Christmas movie one, like top 5 Christmas film. Have we not
too.
done that before?
I don't think we have.
I
Not
could've
that I can
sworn
I
Oh.
recall.
thought we had two.
I mean, I was putting together
Yeah.
my list for tonight, and none of it was like, oh, I've put this list together before.
know.
Like, no, not at all.
I think we've had very deep conversations about Die Hard and Christmas. So
Yeah.
I think those conversations have occurred where we've kind of been like, oh, yeah, quintessential Christmas movie, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, so I think that's definitely happened. But yeah, like
So
even me
when-
putting my
okay.
list together, I'm like, I've not put a Christmas list together.
When I put mine together, I felt like I was thinking to myself, why do I feel like I've had this on a list somewhere before? Maybe it was some sort of different variation and it wasn't specifically
Yeah.
Christmas. Maybe it was something holidays or something. I don't know. But I feel like some of mine that are on my list, I was like, this has come up from somewhere before, but I don't remember where.
Yeah, I definitely don't recall putting a list together, so I don't think we've ever done this on the show.
Well, we're Christmas partied it up
We're doing it
tonight.
Cheers.
Cheers. I don't have
Christmas
anything.
spirit right here.
So before we get to our top 5 list, which, I mean, I guess we haven't officially said it, but as you have probably heard, yeah, we're going to be counting down our top 5 holiday films, each of us. And yes, we are kind of having a little bit of a Christmas party this episode. With all that said, it would be hard to go through this episode and not talk about the fact that The Mandalorian just finished another season. It was a pretty major episode. We are, of course, dying to talk about that, and we will. But because we're going to talk about spoilers, we're going to hold that off until the end of the episode in case you're listening or watching and you don't want to hear anything about the finale to season 2 yet. So
Shame on you if you haven't watched it by now. Shame on you.
Shame on you.
It's
I thought
been
it was
three-
a really
it's been
weird,
3 days.
interesting take for them to kill off the main character. Would you count that
Oh,
as a
I
spoiler?
said no
Like,
spoilers
that's something
yet,
we should kind of
Josh.
address. I mean, oh shit,
Right
that's
out
my
the
bad.
gate.
Really weird curveball that they did to just take out the Mandalorian altogether. That was interesting.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it's been 3 days. We'll do some spoilers. We'll talk about it. but-
We'll talk about that at the end.
So it's Christmas
So-
/ Mandalorian episode.
Yeah.
Okay.
We of
I
course
think
have
that's
talked about
themed
that.
well.
Yes.
You
Makes
know
sense.
why? The cute little guy on
Why?
my shoulder.
The guy behind you over there.
Look how cute he is! So cute. Sorry. Okay, high pitch.
All
Sorry.
right. So we're gonna talk about top 5 holiday movies. We haven't kind of decided on an order.
Where's the bowl? Of
I was thinking that
turkey?
right before you said it. I was like,
Yeah.
what's
The
the order
bowl.
going to be?
Where the bowl
Oh, it's over
isn't
here.
even
It's
complete.
behind us.
The bowl is out of order right now.
His bowl is
The
out
bowl
of
is
commission.
missing. The mole is missing in
Took
me.
an
I
early
guess
Christmas
we'll
vacation.
go in order of the shot here. I guess I'll go first. Y'all shall go last, unless we want to go the other way. It doesn't matter to me. Like
It's fine.
It's
I'm-
cool.
That works.
I am again totally pulling a Yasha this week, and I have 5 movies that I've dwindled it down to. They are not in an order.
I just have a list of Christmas films going down.
Oh, I've been adjusting the entire time we've been recording so far already.
Oh, yeah?
I've been like, well, let's move this here, and no, actually, let's change this, and let's do this, and like, oh no, I'm not happy with how that's looking. Yeah, so I've changed it like 3 or 4 times. So welcome to my world of hell.
Yeah.
All right, I'm pulling up my list to kind of think about this. Which one am I going to put at number 5? That's tough. Like
It's tough.
it's tough because
Fucking big long list.
so when I decided to put my list together, I don't know about you guys, but for me, this isn't so much these are what I think are the top 5 Christmas / holiday movies, period. These are the top 5 Christmas movies that come Christmas season, I do feel the need, I have to watch before Christmas.
Yeah, that's
Like,
kind of what I'm thinking.
Wouldn't necessarily say they're the best top 5 best holiday movies ever made, but for me, they're the 5 movies that are my go-to. If I could only watch 5 holiday movies, these are the 5 I'm gonna watch.
Yeah, no, I think that's the approach I have in my head too. Because like, there's a ton of Christmas movies I love, like absolutely love, and there's tons that are fabulous Christmas films. But there's some that I'm like, if I don't watch that one this year, that's okay. I'll
Right.
watch it next year. But there's other films I'm like, it's just not Christmas. Like seriously, like, there's films that if I don't watch them, I'm like, it's not Christmas. We might as well just call it a day.
Right. With that said, I guess I would say for my number 5. Wait, what?
Start the list.
Oh, what are you saying?
I'm so excited. I love Christmas. I don't even have one drink.
I'm gonna give National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation my number 5.
Are you serious?
Why?
I thought you didn't like that film.
I never said I didn't like that movie. That's classic.
No,
Every
I
time you,
acknowledge that it's classic.
Do we know each other?
I know. Every time you guys do that, I imagine you on the old Newlywed Game where you gotta know the answer of your partner, and you guys are almost always like this. Like, I didn't know you like that. So this is another one to add to that list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you didn't like
Yeah,
that
very
film.
much so.
Yeah, Christmas Vacation.
Oh,
That's
my faith is restored.
wow.
I didn't even make it on my list.
Are you
Really?
serious?
Not on your list, huh?
Not even close.
There,
Oh,
it
not
is,
even.
the
I
official
didn't
graphics.
know my list.
Oh, there we go. There we go. There we go.
Didn't,
Yeah.
didn't even think of it when I thought of Christmas movies. I didn't even pop into my head.
Really?
Yeah, sure.
Well,
You know, it might be because I never. I don't think I watched it when it first came out. So, and I tried to revisit it and actually give it a shot, and it just didn't with me.
It was a
But I
weird
do
cast.
remember watching the original Lampoon's Vacation with Chevy Chase, and that still cracks me up. But the Christmas movie doesn't do anything really for me.
Gotcha.
all
I
right.
get that. I get that.
I could get kind of why you would.
You're gonna be pissed when you see my list.
Oh, really?
I won't be.
But I there was a while there, I think, when National Lampoon was even Christmas Vacation was even a bigger deal than maybe it is even now, and I don't think it was necessarily my thing, but it's grown on me a lot. I like it.
It's had ebb and flow years, I think. There's been times when in season it's kind of really been popular and kind of gone back down. Like when it first came out, it was like a sleeper. And then like 2 years later, because everybody owned it on VHS, all the people that loved it, cult-wise, started showing it to all their friends. All their friends were like, holy crap, this is amazing.
Right.
And so it had a really big heyday in the middle of the 90s. And then it kind of quieted down. It got really big like right somewhere in the 2000s. And it kind of quieted down. I feel like it had a surge about 3 years ago. Really hard surge about 3 years ago. And that's when you were like, I don't know. I think it's played a lot. That's why I figured you didn't like it. Oh, God, now I feel so much better.
No,
Yeah, I
would-
think
would say
I
that's a
actually
go-to
think
for me.
Funny Farm is better. I actually think Funny Farm is better than Christmas Vacation.
Funny Farm.
What's that?
Yeah, I'm not even familiar.
I've
Oh,
seen
man,
that,
I
but
thought
I
you
just
guys
don't.
were.
I guess I
Damn.
didn't ever consider that a Christmas
No, I
film.
never heard of that. I'm gonna
I've
have to
seen
look
that once,
up.
like a long time ago. All right, we gotta get
No, it's
moving
it's
then.
not a Christmas movie. It's not a Christmas one. Don't get me wrong.
Okay.
Oh,
It's
well, even still, I
it's
haven't
not a
had.
Christmas movie, but it's around the realm of when Chevy was like basically king in the theater.
Yeah.
So it's like that. It was about the same time. You know,
Oh,
like
okay.
everything that he did for a while in the '80s and early '90s was gold, and that's one of the movies.
Gotcha.
Now I follow your thought process. I've only seen that movie like once, a long time ago. But
All right, but
so I'm
Michelle,
gonna pull
it
mine
goes to
together.
you.
So I'll be honest. Like for me, oh gosh, there's so many good movies.
Oh, so you're also putting this in order.
I'm
right now.
also pulling a Yasha this evening. I literally just have a list, and I'm just like, okay. So
Oh my
I'll have
God,
to
she
say,
literally has a list of like
I
20
literally
films
just have like a
sitting
shit
in front of
ton
her.
list. God, this is horrible. I'm so sorry. Yeah, you know what? I'll be honest. Like, if I don't watch this movie, I will. And it's funny because this is a recent film that I've started really loving, and now it's like I really enjoy watching this film at Christmas. And it's just I don't know. It's anyways. So I'll say my 5 is The Family Stone. I never saw this when it first came out. I saw it a few years later, just randomly on the VHS. I remember watching it one Christmas and kind of going, "Oh, I like this movie. I'm not in love with this movie, but I like this movie." And then the next Christmas, I watched it. And I was like, "Oh man, I actually really do like this movie a lot." And now it's like a thing. And like I feel like every year I watch it, I've really dove deeper into loving this film. So now it's like I do almost feel like if I don't watch this in the week of Christmas, like it's just not Christmas now. Like I really love watching The Family Stone. It's just a really well done story. And it's like people are like, well, it's not really filled with the Christmas spirit. And I'm like, yes and no, but it's about family and about family, with every family is different, how family comes together at Christmas and like just weird dramas. And it does kind of pull together at the end. I don't know. I really like it. It's a good one for me. I'm down with it. Family Stone. Gotta watch it.
Family Stone. I'm actually surprised it's down at 5 for you. I would have thought it
Really?
Yeah, you really like that movie. I mean, I'm gonna say right now, it's not on my list. You turned me on to that movie. I like that movie.
It's grown on me.
It's grown on me a lot. Like I don't know if I should say grown on me. Like I enjoyed it the first time I saw it, but
Yeah.
I liked it more than I expected. that first time.
Right. And it's like, again, I feel like every year I watch it, and every year I like it a little bit deeper. And I think, I'll be honest, it's probably one of the newer movies on my list, if I think about it. So, anyways, yeah, Family Stone.
You're number 5.
Check
Bobby.
it out.
All right. Excuse me.
He's like, okay.
No, I was just like thinking. So with my number 5, it's funny because the minute I saw this movie in the theater, I had a feeling that it would be a Christmas classic, and sure enough, it ended up becoming a Christmas classic, and that is Will Ferrell's Elf. And I remember seeing that in the theater and having such a good time with it, laughing, cracking up at certain things, and just the genius of some of the elements that he included, and just the whole premise of it on paper. You're just thinking maybe how dumb it sounds, but they pull it off so well, and it has this good balance of humor and heart. And I don't know, I think that there's a couple themes that run through my list for top 5 Christmas, and most of it is in the same way that David said in terms of how he set up his list, but mine do have that sort of Christmas theme that runs through it, that idea of the Christmas spirit and all that. So I think, that movie is one that I always feel like I have to watch, or even if I don't watch the whole thing, but if I can see some scenes from it, that's good enough for me, because there's just so many good parts in it that I just love. That Will Ferrell is in rare form in that movie, so I really love it. But that is my 5.
Nice. Good pick. Elf.
Have you gotten a chance to watch the Christmas movies that shaped us on Netflix? I think that's what it's called.
No.
So
We watched
kind
one
of
episode.
Have you seen this? They do a deep dive into.
Yeah.
The Nightmare Before Christmas and how it's made.
Yeah, we watched the Nightmare Before Christmas one. I haven't watched the Elf one yet.
I'd like to watch that one.
I actually did the other way. I watched the Elf one, but I haven't watched the Nightmare Before Christmas one. And the Elf one, it's really interesting that how hard it was for them to try and get this movie made, and to hear them talk about having this movie made and getting it, like, because Will Ferrell was still very much trying to break into movies when he basically released Elf. And they were like, okay, well, he's still a relatively unknown. He's just a Saturday Night Live guy. And then the funny part is like they released Old School just before this movie came out.
Right.
Elf came out, and so then they're like, oh shit. So I guess we have Frank the Tank as Buddy the Elf in this movie now. And it was just kind of like a whole thing. Like they're like, how do we manage this? Because is he going to be typecast as this Frank the Tank person? Where it's like he had a very small role in that film, but he was a scene-stealing character in that movie.
Yeah.
It's an interesting watch. You should give it a shot.
We probably will this week.
Yeah,
actually.
I do want to see it.
Seems
I will
like
say that show is on a side note. That show is, I like the information it gives you. I will say the delivery sometimes can be kind of annoying. Like
Yeah.
they try to throw in all this kind of humor into the behind the scenes information they're throwing at you, and it can get on your nerves. But overall, it's fun.
Yeah. It'll be a good one to throw on while wrapping presents.
Yeah.
Yeah, very much a good one to throw on while wrapping presents, and like just to see Favreau's presence and how he was basically his method to come up with the movie and stuff like that, and the guy that wrote it, like it's really unique because Favreau was still relatively unknown as well. When they decided to give him that movie to direct. So it's an interesting watch.
Well, that brings us to you, Yasha. What's your number 5 top holiday film?
Yes. Okay. So my number 5. Sorry, the connection's a little spotty here, so I think you went ahead and with the intro. Number 5. It's very, very. I'm sure that we all have seen the shirts and the memes, somewhere, but it's not Christmas until Hans Gruber falls out of a window, and I went with Die Hard as my number 5. And it's just like, I know, the whole debate. I mean, the whole debate of whether or not it's a Christmas movie or it's a movie that just happens to happen at Christmas. And I don't know, for whatever reason, I've always watched it around Christmas. I think the very first time that I watched it, it was Christmas. And then, throw in the lights and the ho, ho, ho jokes and all that other stuff. I just associate that movie with Christmas. And so I mean, I'll watch it in the summer and I'll watch it in Christmas, but I really do. It does resonate a lot with me as being a Christmas movie. I'm not trying to open up a debate. I'm not trying to open up a huge discussion or argument, whatever the case may be.
Deep into the Die Hard debate.
Yeah, we're not going to do that right now. I'm just saying, for me personally, I have always kind of viewed that movie as kind of like a Christmas movie. And I would be willing to bet that if they released it in around Christmas again, that movie would still make money. Like hands over fist.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. It would be insane. Oh my God, yeah.
I'll be curious if it pops up on any other lists, but.
Oh, you don't think it's going to be on ours?
On mine?
No.
Yeah, I can tell you right now, it's not on my list, actually.
Well, it's funny you say that. So, a new tradition that David and I have started recently, and I think we've done it 3 years in a row now.
2 or 3, at least 2, maybe 3.
I think at least, definitely is 2, if not 3. I think this might be the 4th year. But on Christmas Eve, we wound up watching Die Hard.
It's turned into a Christmas Eve movie.
It's turned into our Christmas Eve movie.
Awesome.
Which would make you think I would put it on my top 5 list. But, and it has turned into a thing. But for me, historically, it has not been like a thing attached to Christmas for me. Like, that's a more recent.
It's a recent thing.
A recent thing.
I think this is our 4th year.
And we've talked about this before. Yeah, we're not going to dig deep into it. Do I think it's a Christmas movie? No, I do not. I think it takes place at Christmas. With that said, I enjoy watching it at Christmas. That's where I am.
It's a fun thing to, after having all the fun Christmas spirit, like lovey-dovey Christmas stuff with the kids and hanging out. We'd go, we're all on sugar rushes, put the kids to bed, and then make adult cocktails and watch Die Hard
Very
and then go
adult.
to bed for
A
Christmas.
very adult Christmas movie.
It's a nice way to end the evening for an
Right.
adult. Like,
I'm with you.
so,
Wait,
anyways,
what?
No.
Sorry. Wait, what? What'd you just say?
I don't know.
I don't
which
know. Which part?
I kind of zoned for a second because I was thinking about something, and then you said it's a very adult Christmas movie.
Oh, I was just saying Die Hard. Like, it's a nice way to kind of.
But
like,
not the
have-
parody version of Die Hard, right?
No.
No.
Not
No.
an adult.
No. That's not what
No,
she's saying.
no.
I
I'm talking
was
about the
zoned.
Bruce
I was
Willis
like,
film.
Wait a minute. Did they do some kind of
He's sliding
parody?
down
Because
the
you said
chimney.
Cause, yeah. Because you're like the kids go to bed and then there's the adult. I just zoned for a second and I just heard that part.
Come on back to the
Yeah.
conversation.
Wow,
Bobby.
Bobby.
Hey, I don't
Santa's
know. I
looking
just
for
heard.
those extra cookies in milk.
I'm just saying that we don't let the kids watch Die Hard
man.
at Christmas time.
Definitely not
Gotcha.
a kid's Christmas
That's
movie.
what we're.
He's handing out his candy cane.
sure.
Oh God,
With that,
David, what's your number 4?
what's my number 4? That's a good question because I'm figuring it out as we go. I'm going to go with a movie that I'm almost embarrassed to put on my list.
Really?
I don't
Uh-oh.
know why, because it's a solid film. It's a very good movie. And I would argue that this movie is actually, I think, peaked and it's on its way kind of downhill in terms of Christmas popularity to a certain extent. And that would be Love Actually.
Aww.
Why the oh.
Well, it's really sweet, and it's like it is kind of a tradition.
It is,
And
to me,
we're-
I think it's a solid film. I really enjoy watching it at Christmas. In fact, we watched it last night.
We did watch it
we
last
watched
night.
it last night, and there was a part of me going into it that I'm like, I feel like it's getting to the point that maybe am I played out on this one? Like, do I not need to see this at Christmas anymore? But then we watched it, and I'm like, no, this is solid.
It is.
Like, even if just for Bill Nighy's performance in it alone, like,
him and his manager.
it's so worth it. And I mean, that's only like a little tiny part of that movie, for those who have seen it, But no, I think the message that the movie has is a great one, and yeah, it's still a go-to movie at this point every Christmas to watch Love Actually. So yeah, Love Actually is my number 4.
I'm gonna have to do that. I'm gonna have to give it a shot because I think I've seen it only once, and I honestly don't remember
Oh yeah,
the movie.
How have you only managed to see this film once? Wow.
I
mean, it's on
haven't seen it
TV
at
a
all.
lot.
We're not
It's
we're
on-
not
You
gonna be
haven't seen
throwing
it at all.
judgment tonight, okay?
Oh my God. It's like on.
Yeah, I'm like,
There was years where it was just on Netflix. I feel like they finally just kicked it off Netflix. Like anyway.
I honestly don't remember it, so it's like I may not have seen it. I know that they have those collaborations for a while. That was a really big thing where
Yeah.
major
Yeah.
stars would come and they'd only have like 10 minutes of screen time. But
like New Year's
I'm
Eve,
interested. I really feel like maybe I need to
Valentine's.
revisit it.
Yeah.
Valentine's
Those are all the,
Day.
those are all like the
yeah, all
Frank
of that.
Marshall films, right?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, those
Not
are
the
by Frank
same.
Marshall. Yeah,
Yeah.
Not the same.
No, definitely
Okay.
not the same as Love
Not bad.
Actually.
not bad.
No, I'm not saying anything. I don't think it's odd at all if you've only seen it once or don't remember it that well. But I feel like it has had a pretty large surge in popularity the past few years.
Yes.
It's been quite a thing.
It's funny because I feel like the year it came out, it bombed. But then again, I feel
Yeah,
like the
I don't
next
think it
Christmas,
did well at all.
But then it's like the next Christmas, it like lit up like a Christmas tree at Christmas. It just lit on fire.
But did it get? I know it got an Oscar nomination for.
Did it?
Oh yeah, I remember.
Well,
Now I've had to look this up.
well, while you're looking that up, I could probably talk about it. My number 4.
Okay, do it.
But oh yeah, no. Like anyways, I feel like Love Actually, it was a sleeper and then like it got really crazy popular and then it just went like it's just been a thing for so many years. Like it's really blown up. It got some BAFTAs.
They got a Golden Globe for Best Motion Picture Comedy or Musical
Nominee.
nomination. Right.
but Bill Nighy got a BAFTA for it.
Yeah, won a BAFTA.
Wow, he won
for
a
supporting
BAFTA for
actor.
it. Yeah, that's amazing. And his performance in it is awesome.
So maybe that's what I'm thinking of in my head was the Golden Globes, not the Oscars, but still
That's
close.
Still, well, my number 4 is also Love Actually.
Oh,
It's-
all right.
I love this movie. I'm almost annoyed that I didn't see this movie when it came out in theaters the year it did. I think which was just 2002, 2003. 2003.
2003.
So I didn't see it in theaters when it came out, but then I saw it the following year on like DVD or something, and I was like, "This movie's amazing! This is a great Christmas film." Like I remember watching it. I think the first like 2 Christmases that I watched this film, I had tears in my eyes. I thought it was so spectacular. Like it's just a good, well done film, and it's got these stories in them that are engaging, and I feel like there's been different times in my life where I'll relate to one story and then another time in my life where I'll relate to another story. And I feel like I go through phases where I relate to different stories in the film. And so it's kind of interesting how that's happened, in the last, 17 years. So yeah, no, Love Actually is fabulous. And even last night watching it, yeah, the whole Bill Nighy storyline is great. But then like, I'm trying to think what was the other storyline that really it's my favorite storyline that's in the whole thing, and it's the one with I can't think of his name. It's the one with Aurelia and the writer.
Oh. Yeah, now you're
Now
making me blank on his name, which is really sad.
It's
that I
really
can't think of his
sad.
name.
You guys are gonna be so annoyed that we can't think of his name.
Colin Firth.
Colin Firth. God, jeez. Okay, so Colin Firth's storyline is probably my favorite one. I think a lot of people can say that, honestly. But no, it's a really good film, and honestly, now it is a part of my Christmas week ritual. Like if I don't watch that Christmas week, it's just not Christmas for me.
And the nice thing is too is it's not like every storyline it's following is like a happy-go-lucky storyline about love. Like
It's realistic.
it's all facets of love. It's realistic. Some of them are not so happy. Like,
Yeah.
it's good.
No, it's a really good film.
Bobby, your number 4 holiday film.
So with my number 4, the thing that we've been talking about mostly, and forgive me if I'm wrong in this because we haven't gone through the totality of our list, but a lot of these movies are movies that I would say maybe within the last 15 years have become popular and they start showing on TV and are played ad nauseum. Well, when I was growing up, these movies weren't out yet. And so there were other movies that they used to play all the time around Christmas ad nauseum. And one of those for me that I watched that I absolutely love, and my list wouldn't be complete without it, is the Jimmy Stewart classic, It's a Wonderful Life. So gotta watch that. That's just always puts me in the mood.
Yeah.
It's
That one
such
gets
a
you.
classic film. Yeah.
Gets you there.
Yeah, for sure.
It took me a while to type down there. I finally got it. It's a Wonderful Life. Your number 4. Yasha, your number 4 holiday film. What is it?
My number 4, I feel like we're going to start hearing repeats pretty quickly here soon, and that's not going to change with mine. My number 4 is Elf. I always find time to watch Elf. I find it still funny, hilarious, adorable, and gets you all in the feels towards the end of the movie. It's just a very sweet film, and I think it's one that I'll always probably enjoy and at least watch once a year. And that's kind of how I can equate that. Or it's just like I sit there and think about it. It's like, yeah, I could watch that once a year and still really vibe on it.
Nice.
Nice. Oh yeah, that's me, right? Okay.
It's you again.
I'm back. Number 3. My number 3. Again, I'm doing this as we go. I'm gonna go with Home Alone.
Really?
So why is that one surprising?
I don't know. I guess I didn't think that was a go-to for you. Like I know
Oh,
you enjoy it, and you I know you especially enjoy watching it with your kids because your kids get such a freaking kick out of it, and I think it makes you relive when you were a kid and you watched it, and like how you probably thought it was so funny when you were a kid. That's when I think there's a new level to it for you.
I guess.
Maybe not. not?
No, maybe. I think for me, it's I don't know. It's just it feels like a must-watch kind of Christmas thing. And you're right. I do remember seeing that in a movie theater when I was a child. I don't remember what year that came out, how old I was when I saw it. And man, I was dying watching that movie in a movie theater as a kid.
Yeah.
Like it was amazing. And yeah, my kids love it, so it is a go-to for them. It's probably like come Christmas, that's the first movie they're like, hey, when are we watching Home Alone? When are we watching Home Alone?
It is the first one.
And I mean, there's been times throughout the year I've had to go, guys, we don't need to watch Home Alone right now. Like, it's a Christmas movie. We'll wait till Christmas. No, we don't need to read the Home Alone book that you have in July. No, that's a Christmas book. We'll read it at Christmas. It's definitely a thing for them. But yeah, I don't know. It's just a lot of fun. It just feels like Christmas.
I get that.
Unlike another movie, it's probably going to be next on my list, which I would argue, yeah, I have it on my list at number 2, but part of me is like, is this really that much of a Christmas movie? like little tease for my number 2.
That is a tease.
So
Well, and it's funny you say that. Even on my list, there's so many films that are not actually like Christmas films, but they have like, maybe there's a point in the storyline where Christmas occurs.
right.
And there's a few of the movies that I've latched onto, and I'll just go ahead and say the one that really comes to my mind that I love, and I usually watch it at Christmas time, but I will say it's not. It used to be a film that I had to watch at Christmas, and now it's not so much, but I still really love this movie, and it's Meet Me in St. Louis. Meet Me in St. Louis. Excuse me, I'll say it the right way. No, Meet Me in St. Louis there's a huge, the main apex of the whole film is at Christmas time. And that's when it really hits the high notes. And that's also where you hear the song Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas for the very first time ever. Like ever, 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 ever. So it's a big moment in the film, and it's just a really great thing. And I will say, when Judy Garland sings it, I still to this day have a tear in my eye when I watch that film. It gets me. But it's not on my list anymore. It's bounced out, but not by a lot.
That surprises me because I know it's a big one for you.
No, it is a big one for me. It'd be like number 6 for me. I'll put it that way.
Right.
But my number 3.
You're number 3, Michelle.
My number 3, and I'm kind of doing this on the fly here myself.
Narrow down those 15.
It's hard to. I was gonna say there's a decent amount on here. I'll put it this way. So, I love A Christmas Carol as a whole. Like, I love A Christmas Carol. It is a really spectacular story. It's my favorite Christmas story as a whole. And you guys are still gonna laugh at me, but the version that there's versions I love, and there's one version that I love, and it's just not Christmas for me unless I watch it, and it's the Muppets Christmas Carol.
Oh,
I love it so much. Like, I love the songs. Like, it
so
gets me
funny.
a little teary-eyed sometimes. It's just, I love it. It's so good. It's just a part of me.
It's for, I hate to say for a Muppet movie because I like Muppet movies, but for a Muppet movie, for a Christmas Carol telling version, what
Right,
have you,
'cause everybody does it.
interpretation, there's a million versions out there. It's really good.
It's a solid version.
Yeah.
Like, it's really well done. The costuming, the settings, all of it. It gets me. I love that one.
I'm for some reason blanking, and this is a silly question. Who wrote A Christmas Carol? I can't think of it.
Charles Dickens.
Yes,
Dickens.
that's
That's
right.
how old
it
that's
was like it was blanking on me. I
Charles
knew it was
Dickens.
someone I knew. I just could not, for some reason, think of it. But yeah,
And
that's
there's
a
been
classic.
there's so many
So
iterations
many.
of it. So many.
So
I mean, like, I could even there's a old black and white version that, you know, is kind of a classic one that everybody kind of used to go to. And then there's one that was black and white but then got colorized. And there's just, there's so many evolutions of it. So, but that one, I would say that there's 2 versions of it that I just absolutely love, and this is one of the 2 versions that it's just not Christmas for me unless I watch it. Like, it just gives me the feels.
I get that. Bobby, you're
So,
number
yeah.
3.
My number three is same as yours, David. It's Home Alone, and
Oh,
it's
nice.
just like you said. I mean, that movie just always puts me in a good mood and good spirit, and uh, I cannot get through that movie no matter how many times I've seen it. When the scene happens and Joe Pesci opens the door, and it's
He's losing it
He's
right
dying
now.
right now.
He's just thinking about it. He's falling out of
You all right,
laughing.
man?
So, are you okay? Oh, honey.
and his head
You
goes
all right,
on
bud?
fire. And he has the balls.
This is the best show we've ever done.
Oh
We should do
God!
this every year.
Wow.
It gets
I
to
love
me
this.
every time, every single time. I mean, I ain't even seen it. I'm laughing. I'm crying. Thinking about it. So, honestly, that just shows you how much I love that part in that
Oh.
movie. So that's my number three.
Oh,
Oh
He's
man,
like, I can't even
Nice.
talk anymore. Just move.
yeah.
Yash is up.
Home Alone, your number three. My number three, Yasha. What's your number three?
My number three is I'm just gonna say it. My number three is How the Grinch Stole Christmas. I really enjoy the 2001 and the animated one from 1966. I just find that I have always watched those movies when I was really little, and the 2001 I remember when that came out. Um, I mean, ironically, I think Bobby, we were friends in that time. You know, back then when I watched it in the theater at the Spectrum, and
Yeah.
that was that's my number three. That's just it's very special to me. It's just I think what was really cool when I went to go see How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the live action with Jim Carrey. My entire family from the East Coast, for the most part, was out here, and we all went together to go see it on Christmas Day. So that has a very special place in my heart. But it was I just like the story. I think it's just a solid story. It's just a fun one. The animated one, the live action one. I haven't seen the new animated one with Benedict Cumberbatch, The Grinch, since they took off
Mhm.
the How the Stole and Christmas on it. They just decided to put The Grinch on there. But yeah, that's my number three.
That's solid. No, I love the classic animated one. Like, love it. And I
Yeah.
actually do appreciate the newer live action one. I've only watched the new computer animated Grinch, I think one time. I don't think I really sat and watched it. I think
Actually,
it was
I haven't watched that all the way through yet.
I think it was just on one time, and like your kids were watching it, and I was doing stuff, so it's like I caught bits and pieces here and there. But no, the live action one, I enjoy the live action one, and I remember that one holds kind of a little bit of a special place in my heart because it was my first time working at a movie theater at Christmas time, and I loved it, and it was so much fun. Like it was so much fun. Oh yeah, that was good times.
My number two, right? Okay,
Yeah.
number two holiday film.
Well,
As
I'm excited to find these out. This is
so
I love
based on
this.
my tease, do you have any idea what I'm about to say?
I have no idea what you're about to say.
Okay,
I mean, I guess if I
you'd
thought
probably be offended.
Oh, I think I know what this is.
You think so?
I think it's one of your favorite directors.
You don't know
Oh,
what this is.
then I don't know what this is.
um, this is a movie that has Christmas in the title, and yet I remember the first time I watched it, thinking, "Hey, so this is a Christmas movie, right?" like,
I know what it is.
When are we going to get to the Christmas aspect of this one? And that would be White Christmas. And I knew that eye roll was going to come. I mean, hey, it's number two on my list. Like it does feel for me like it's a must watch every year now. Like it's tradition. I have to watch White Christmas. But yeah, I'll admit I hadn't seen White Christmas for the first time until, well, I mean, it's been quite a while now, but it took a while for me to see it finally.
Really?
Like, I think I finally saw it. I mean, I was out of college and I
Oh
finally
my
watched-
gosh, are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then I remember when I first watched it, thinking like, this doesn't feel very Christmas. like there's really, even the show they put on at the end really has nothing about it to do with Christmas until the very end of it. And finally,
Right.
like they're dressed in the outfits you see on the movie poster or on the the DVD cover or what have you, and they sing White Christmas until that point, like really.
Right.
But with all that
I don't know.
said, there's something about it in terms of, I guess, because it's called White Christmas, because that's when I've always watched it. Now, come Christmas, it has to be watched. It's not even just down at number 5 for me. It's number 2. Like I love the movie.
No, yeah.
The music too. The
Oh my God, the
and
music's
songs,
fabulous.
definitely.
Right.
Yeah. So
No,
I
like,
get that.
I'm not surprised it's on your list because I'll be honest, like had these other movies not existed, it would be on my list because I've been watching White Christmas
And
since
it's not on your list. That surprises me.
I've been watching White Christmas since I was in diapers. Like it is a staple in my household, and it happens. Like I know those songs by heart, and I mean not like I've kind of learned them by heart like later in life. Like I knew them by heart by the time I was in like the 5th grade. Like I know that movie inside and out. So it's like if I could say like number 6 was Meet Me in St. Louis. Number 7 is White Christmas for me. Like it does have to get played in the month of December for me. And honestly, it's one of the movies I've seen it so many times, and I do really love it.
Oh, I love
put it
that
on-
movie. I was trying to think of which one it was, and I couldn't picture it. And then I've only recently saw that
Yeah,
movie
you
within
just
the
saw
last.
it. I remember when you
Oh,
watched
Yeah,
it.
I love
Yeah.
that movie.
Yeah.
Oh, he's just not pulling it together. Okay.
Yeah.
God bless you, Bobby.
Sorry.
Have you had a long day, honey?
Oh, a long week, but no, I just was listening and I was trying to remember which movie it was because of based on what you guys were saying. You weren't saying who was in it or anything, so I couldn't
Oh.
remember any of the story or anything.
Yeah.
So, but
Irving
yeah,
Berlin's
yeah.
White Christmas, starring Danny Kaye, Bing Crosby, Rosemary Clooney, and I can never remember the dancer's name because she's technically a dancer. Can't think of her name now. Shoot, I was doing so well. No, like, and I've seen the movie so many times in my life that now I basically put it on and I wrap presents with that movie on in the background because I've seen it so many times. Vera Allen, there it is. Vera Allen, the dancer. No, like that movie is quintessential, and like I'll put it on and I'll wrap presents to it. Like I don't have to watch it; it's just like part of what I do, or I'll bake cookies to it or something. You know, no, that movie's God, the movie is classic Christmas right there for sure.
Yeah.
It's almost as classic Christmas as the one that Bobby put on his list. This is number 4 that I don't like.
Oh,
Oh, wait.
is that your
Oh,
number?
It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah, she's not a big fan of It's a Wonderful Life.
It's controversial, I know.
It's kind of weird.
I don't like It's a Wonderful Life.
That is weird.
I know.
You don't like It's a Wonderful Life?
I know.
Did I
It's
hear that
weird.
right?
Yeah. And what's funny is I like versions of It's a Wonderful Life, but I actually don't like It's
You're
a
the
Wonderful
devil.
Life.
I'm okay.
Man.
I'm just kidding. Michelle.
No,
I'm
it's,
just
it's
kidding.
funny because everybody is always like, you don't like It's a Wonderful Life? And I'm like, I don't know. It just never really spoke to me. And I mean, every couple of years I'll try it again. I'm just like, no.
My argument, because this came up, we talked about this last night, and my argument is this a matter of, because It's a Wonderful Life definitely peaked years ago.
When
Like,
we were kids,
man,
it was on.
we were kids. It was that movie, like Christmas Story turned into for a while there, where it was just on all the time.
It was
like,
on all the time, and it had to always be on a major network on Christmas Eve. Like
Right.
it had to be on a major network.
and
on Christmas Eve.
my argument was that a matter of when you really kind of came of age to really care about that movie, where you're like, hey, this is way too popular and it's just too much and everybody loves this, so I don't love it.
I don't think so. Maybe a little bit, but it's like I've tried revisiting it. Like I'll give it like a couple of years, and I'll try revisiting things. Maybe it's as I adult in my life,
Right.
it'll pull on me more. And I think it's because I just no, it just doesn't. I don't know.
I
do you
admit,
not
I
love
haven't
Little
watched it in a
Zuzu?
long time. What's that?
So how do you not love Little Zuzu?
Oh. Yeah, come on, Michelle.
It's just not fun. Oh man. Which is funny because I love Christmas and I love Christmas movies. Like I have a ton of movies. I could list off a million movies, but like that one's just not one for me. It's one of the few misses. Anywho, my number 2 has been mentioned this evening, and it again, and my list is made of how if I don't watch these like like within the week of Christmas, like my life is just not, it's not Christmas for me. And it's definitely National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Like, oh God, that movie's so good. Like that movie, I remember when it came out, I remember watching it. Like it is a staple in my household, like growing up. Like there's just jokes all the time at Christmas time that are all National Lampoon's created. I mean, I even like ragged on David a little bit a couple weeks ago because I made a little TikTok because he decorated his house this year, and he always decorates outside of his house with Christmas lights, but he got brand new like LED white lights, and they are so bright, like it lights up the yard. You can
They're
see
stupid bright.
They're
Like,
so stupid bright. You can see the house from halfway down the street.
I did not know they were going to be like that when I bought them, but
It's
what it is.
amazing. But it's like it's the house is, it looks beautiful, but it's so brightly lit that it's like the first thing I thought of was National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. So I just
No video?
Oh, I loved it.
oh yeah, she shot like a TikTok of
I
it.
did a TikTok of it.
Oh, okay.
I
Okay.
made a TikTok. Like it's just that movie to me is just it's quintessential like how I grew up, how Christmas was. It was a big thing. It was a big family thing. Like no, that movie's fat. I love that movie, and if I don't watch it within a few days of Christmas happening, it's like it's not right for me. David's falling apart here.
You're like my
Yeah. The video just went out for a second.
small
I heard
technical
David panic.
issues.
Technical issues. It's okay. My earpieces keep falling out. It's fine.
So it's to me with my
It's
number
to
two.
you.
Number two.
You're number 2. What is it, Bobby?
Yeah, I'll make it pretty short and sweet and just say that my number 2 is Christmas Vacation as well. Just so much to love about that movie. When once Cousin Eddie shows up, it's a party. I mean, it's just so much fun when Randy Quaid is in the movie as Cousin Eddie. And yeah, one of my favorite parts of that is obviously just the festivities that are going on, and when all the in-laws are together and they're just so so many shenanigans are going on and antics that are just makes me again laugh and almost cry to tears of how much I'm laughing. But love that movie. Every year gotta watch that.
It's funny. As a kid, I used to always think it was so funny watching Chevy Chase have the little mental breakdown, and he just like regurgitates that huge like paragraph of like happiest Christmas, and I feel like as a kid I thought it was just really funny, and as an adult like I laugh, and part of me is like I slightly am crying because I relate to that on the inside so hard some years. Like it's so different when you're an adult, and now I'm like so true.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I think you should. I think you guys should really take the time to watch Funny Farm if you like that, because he has a nervous breakdown in that, and it's pretty magical. Like it's pretty funny. Like, he does that really really well. And this movie though, if you watch it, you're just like, yeah, I can see why this would anybody would go crazy with that. And it was made a year before
The height of Chase.
What happened?
Yeah, what happened?
Oh god!
You thought about Home Alone
My
again.
bad.
Crazy
Is he on a
feels.
delay?
Yeah.
No, it's just like I'm in my own world.
You super are tonight.
And I was just thinking about the scene in Christmas Vacation when they shine up the sled real good, nice and slick, and he goes 1, 2, and it just takes off like a
Bingo.
rocket, and you can see the flames behind it. It's just
Bobby
some
is
of those
so in his own
scenes
world
are just
tonight.
so
That's
funny.
horrible.
But these are why I watch these movies every year, because they're just so hilarious.
They are.
Still to this day.
Bingo.
Yasha, your number 2 holiday film.
My number 2 is Home Alone. That's a movie that's very special to me. And I remember seeing it in the theater. I remember laughing my ass off, and I've actually been thinking about watching it again. But it's just the music of John Williams, and just very magical, and just everything about it is just it's very Christmas to me. It's very Christmas.
The music alone definitely, I think,
Yeah.
puts anybody in the Christmas spirit. The music that they did for that is scored for it and everything. It's fabulous. Do you ever wonder what the dad did to have a house like that in Chicago?
I think everybody has wondered, how is it that he can have this
What
many
did they
kids
do?
and this
What
large
did
of a
they
house?
do?
And,
Right.
like,
She's definitely a working mom. There's no way she's stay-at-home mom.
right.
Anyways.
Yeah. I think that's everybody's question about Home Alone.
What? Mafia?
Yeah. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, the
brings
joke
us-
is there's a meme that goes around that's kind of a joke. Like the dad actually shows up in The Sopranos, working with Tony, taking money from him. So everyone is like the meme that I'll see if I find it again. But it's like it shows us like, you ever wonder what Kevin McAllister's dad did to be able to afford an entire vacation for all of his family and the house?
Right.
And then the next picture is like him talking to Tony Soprano.
Nice.
That's pretty good.
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
Okay.
He's so in his own world. I love it.
What? He was watching a gangster movie on the TV when the pizza guy came.
My
Ties
cheeks
in.
hurt from laughing so much this evening. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, that brings us to our number ones, and
number
I guess I am first, and my number one is going to be my only version of A Christmas Carol on this list, and that would be Scrooged.
I knew that was going to be on your list somewhere. I didn't know it was going to be number one, but I knew it was going to be on your list.
I was starting to stress out a little bit.
Why?
Because I know you love that movie.
You're like,
and
how
I was
does-
like, how
Yeah.
has this movie not come up on his list yet?
I love it this much. It's my number one. Like it seems kind of like the perfect little total package of Christmas for me. Like it's got the perfect message. I mean, it's the Christmas Carol story. It's
Yeah.
just told differently. Like this came at a time in my life, like when, I don't know, I just remember seeing this in a movie theater and really enjoyed it. And I loved this different kind of take on it. I love Danny Elfman, so I love his score to Scrooge.
It's good.
It's just Bill Murray's great. Everything about it is great. It's got a great ending. I remember being in the movie theater like when, you know, this was like opening weekend and the movie theater was pretty full, and, you know, he's got that whole thing during the credits where he's like talking to the audience, and the audience wasn't actually reacting in the movie theater I was in, but still, like, I have all these like fond memories of it, and Bobby is still freaking out about something over there.
Get the shot. Get the shot up. Get the shot up.
What's going on?
Bobby's
here?
losing his mind.
No, it's okay.
God
It's
bless
okay.
him.
I'm listening. I'm checked in, but just thinking about some stuff from my number one
Thinking
movie.
about Home
It's
Alone.
just-
Oh yeah, nice.
no, for my number one movie, actually.
Well, so I'm just gonna go ahead and jump into it because, like, I'll be honest. When David said, you know, hey guys, we should do our top 5. My number one, I knew instantly what my number one was gonna be. Like, and it's really easy for me, and it's my second favorite. It's my other favorite iteration of A Christmas Carol, and it's Scrooged. Like, I love Scrooged. Like, I've
Nice.
grown up watching Scrooged. Like, I don't know. Like, gosh, Scrooge is just so fabulous. And it's Bill Murray at the height of the popularity of Bill Murray for sure. But the film is just, and yeah, like, is it a time capsule of the late 80s, early 90s? For sure. But now it's like, I love that even more. Cause like, for me, that was my childhood time. Like, I love that era. Like, that's what I grew up in. And so, like, I watch it, and there's just so many things that are so great about it. The score, the acting, the script itself, like the just all of it. It's just so good and put together so well. And God, I love A Christmas Carol. Like, I love A Christmas Carol. It is probably one of my favorite books to read. Like, I've read it millions of times, not millions of times, but I've read it a ton. And like, I've seen it on a stage at least 3 times in my life by really spectacular performers. I love a lot of other films where they do iterations of A Christmas Carol. Like, I'm a sucker for like iterations of A Christmas Carol. But by far, like, my 2 absolute favorite is Scrooge and the Muppets version. And that's Christmas for me, is A Christmas Carol. And those versions are it. Like, oh, I love Scrooge. And I'm so happy that it's your number one. Because, like, as soon as you said it, like, you're like, we're going to do a list. I'm like, my number one's going to be Scrooge. Like, that one I knew.
mean, that surprises me too. I knew you liked Scrooge, but I didn't know it was like
Oh,
for you
no.
to say, man, it was boom, number one, Scrooge, no doubt about it. I was like,
I watch that movie every year. I'm keeping my language good. I watch that movie every Christmas. I love it. It's been a staple growing up in my family's house since that movie came out. Like, oh, I love Scrooge. It's so good. Like, it's just, I'm so happy that it's your number one because it's my number one.
all right, Bobby, I'm dying to know what your number one is. What's your number one holiday
Well,
film?
before I jump slightly into that, I
Okay.
did just find it interesting that of Michelle's list, two of her movies are Scrooge movies, basically, or at least takes
Yeah.
on it. And
Yeah.
that's kind of interesting
Yeah.
that story resonates so much, and even in a maybe not so direct way, you could kind of say The Grinch is like a Scrooge movie. It's just some sort of
Yeah.
separate type of iteration of it. In a
Yeah,
way.
it's about finding the Christmas spirit, you know. And,
Yeah.
and for me, that's a big one for me. So
Yeah.
no, yeah,
It resonates for sure.
it does. It really
Okay,
does.
so my number one, I'm glad we have this show because it's I listen to a lot of different podcasts and they run down their movie list and stuff, and sometimes I feel like I'm on the same page with you guys about a lot of these movies, and maybe some of them don't necessarily make my list, but I can understand why they make the list. But not all the time do they seem to represent some of the stuff that I like and watch because maybe they didn't grow up like I did and watch certain things that I did. And so for me, this movie that's my number one is a movie I saw in the theater. And while I enjoyed it in the theater, it was one of those movies that the more I watched it, the more I started to see and love about it and pick up on little things. And that is the Ice Cube, Mike Epps classic Friday After Next. And
Nice.
it's just shenanigans from start to finish with that movie.
Yeah.
And it's just it resonates because it's like Christmas in the Hood basically, and it has this heart to it still, but underneath that layer of silliness that you get in those Friday movies. And it's just something that I find myself watching once a year, typically speaking, when I go to like maybe the barbershop, and I'll tell my barber, why don't you throw on Friday After Next? And we'll be sitting there watching it and just cracking up. But it's always something I love to watch every year.
Excellent.
Friday After Next.
That's a
All
good
right.
one.
Yasha.
Did not see that coming. Did not see that
No.
coming.
Yeah, no, most people wouldn't.
Yeah. Mine has already been
Some-
said. The movie that I chose. It's not that I have it. It holds a place in my heart, like it's like compared to some of the other ones that I've listed. But I just find it kind of like an all around family film. You know, kind of in the sense of being, I guess, perfect when it captures the essence of Christmas and whatnot. I haven't watched it in years, but when we were making this list, it's one of the first movies that popped in my head. So I decided to go with "It's a Wonderful Life," like Jimmy Stewart, just all day, every day. Like, I mean, I don't know why. I just, and I think maybe I'll watch it again sometime soon, maybe this week, sometime, just having it on in the background or whatnot. But it just, something about that movie just kind of like encapsulated, Christmas. And that's one of the first things that I thought of. And I was like, well, I should probably put that on my list. I think about that, and it's synonymous with Christmas, and everybody knows the famous scenes and dialogue from it almost as much as they know Scrooge. And Scrooge is by far one of my favorite films. I mean, especially the one with Bill Murray. Like, I mean, I even made a little notable mentions list, and it's on there and at the top of that list. So it's just, but I don't know why. So I chose "It's a Wonderful Life."
I mean, yeah, while you're at it, you mentioned, excuse me, kind of a notable, like, honorable mentions. Do you have anything else you wanted to bring up? We can all run through some
Yeah,
honorable
sure. I
mentions
mean,
if we
I'm
have
just
any.
going to say them really quickly. I'm just going to say them really quickly. I'm not going to dive into any specific, like,
Right.
why or whatever, but it's like, there's a couple of new films on there that I actually thought were really, really sweet, very, very cutesy type of movies. when it came to Christmas. Well, White Christmas, that's on my notable mentions list. That's honorable mentions, I should say. Noel, Claus,
Oh yeah.
which is an animated film that they released just recently. I
Mm.
thought that was really well done. Gremlins, because it was done at Christmas and it centers
Nice.
around Christmas time. And then Scrooge takes the cake. It's at the top of the list right there because Bill Murray is king, and that movie is just really funny. And when I first watched it, I remember watching it and laughing my ass off, like just constantly, especially at Carol Kane. She is
Oh my gosh.
beyond brilliant in that movie. I love her so much. She's such a fun actress to watch. Like her voice kills me, and it just that movie right there is just brilliant in itself. I thought it was beautifully well done, and it's a shame that I don't think that it gets as much praise or recognition as it probably should.
While we're at it, I'll just say this might be surprising that I would throw this as an honorable mention, but for me, it's turned into another traditionally watched Christmas movie for the past couple of years, and that's The Night Before, which
That's
I
my
just
honorable
Yeah,
mention.
I thoroughly
I
enjoy
thought
that
about putting it on
movie.
the list too.
And I remember the
Yeah, me
first
too.
time I watched it, I remember thinking, yeah, that was pretty good, but I
Yeah.
wasn't really that thrilled with it. But now I've seen it the past couple Christmases since then, and the more and more I watch it, the more I love that movie. So yeah, haven't watched it yet. It'll be happening this week.
Yeah.
But
No. Probably
yeah,
more
that
maybe.
and another one that I mean we actually just watched with the kids, which isn't really so much a Christmas movie, but I'll mention it because I love this film, like love this movie, and that's Edward Scissorhands. Um, yeah, it takes place at Christmas, mainly at the end. Um, but so yeah, I don't know. It's not so much a Christmas film, but again, I just that's a movie that for me is on top of a list for movies. Period. Like I really love that movie. So,
Yeah.
Michelle, any honorable mentions, real
Oh
quick?
gosh. Okay. So yeah, one of the ones I really actually enjoy watching around Christmas time. Again, it's not a Christmas movie, but it has actually Christmas takes place in the film three times, and it was actually a book, but it's Little Women. I actually love watching it at Christmas time because Christmas occurs three times in the story, so you get Christmas a few times. Again, Meet Me in St. Louis, Spectacular, White Christmas. Let's see. I actually really enjoy the newer variation on Miracle on 34th Street. The night before, that one is really. I remember we saw that in the theater, and you and I were like, "Oh, that was kind of cute." And then we watched it again, like the next year. We both were like, "Actually, this is hilarious," and we really attached to it. It's one of those random ones that kind of grew on us.
Yeah.
One that I grew up. Another one I grew up watching is A Christmas Story. And that film, yeah, it's like TNT or TBS runs it for like 48 hours straight at Christmas time, and it's been like that for years now. But even before that, that movie was a thing in my family. Like my parents were the weird people that actually went to see that movie in theaters, and it bombed. And my parents loved it, and they thought it was amazing. And so like they searched to get a VHS of that thing, and we've watched it every year in our household, ever since it was created. And then it slowly became a thing like in the 90s and the early 2000s. Now it's like everybody watches it over and over and over and over again. But that one, I love that one. I love Edward Scissorhands. And then there's one that it's an old one that kind of caught my eye a couple Christmases. It was my first Christmas really where I was alone. Like everybody in town left, and I had nothing to do on Christmas Eve. Like everybody I knew was gone, and I was literally in my apartment alone on Christmas Eve. And it's Christmas in Connecticut. It was on TMC, and I've really grown to like that one a lot. It's really a good one, and I had never watched it before then, and that was in 2005. But ever since then, I've really liked that one. It's kind of a sleeper, but it's really awesome. Barbara Stanwyck's in it, and she's just hilarious, total babe with the best comedic timing and attitude and sass, and it's just a really great film. So, anyways, yeah, it's a good one.
Bobby, any honorable mentions you wanted to mention?
Yeah, actually, some that you guys already mentioned. One was definitely going to be The Night Before that you mentioned, David and Michelle. And Miracle on 34th Street. I actually still enjoy the black and white version.
Oh, it's
That's kind of my go-to one. And One of the recent ones that we just talked about not too long ago that's on Netflix, I could see watching that every year now, is Jingle Jangle. That's really very recent, obviously, just this year.
Yeah.
And Lethal Weapon.
Nice.
Oh yeah, it's a good one. It's a good
Just
one. Dang, yeah.
I kind of don't really consider Lethal Weapon a Christmas movie, but I just wanted to throw that in there because we talked about Die Hard.
Place at Christmas. There's
We can talk about Die Hard. We can talk about
I
Lethal
was
Weapon.
gonna say we're on there.
It's
Super
true.
on there.
All right.
It's Shane Black
Yeah.
stuff. So
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess that does it for our
Christmas part.
Christmas part of
Wait,
the show.
Yasha, I think you're on
Yasha's
mute.
speaking, but we can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said in Lethal Weapon, the first scene is literally opening with like Christmas music playing.
Yeah.
yeah,
No, it's a good one.
That was all. That's all I said.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, I guess that basically does it for the Christmas part of our show, which we've already gone an hour.
It's a Christmas party.
But it's a Christmas party, and there's no way we can do the show and not talk about the finale to season 2 of The Mandalorian. With that said, I mean, yeah, if you're watching this, listening to this, and you haven't watched the finale yet, or maybe you were waiting to watch the whole season in like a binge sitting, and that's why you haven't seen it yet, I don't know. But if you haven't watched it yet, definitely don't listen to this. Definitely don't watch this. Go watch The Mandalorian first, because we're going to talk about spoilers for the season finale, the entire season, everything from The Mandalorian up until this point. We're going to talk about it. I don't know how long we'll go. We might just touch on some stuff really quick. We might go on for another hour. I have no idea. We shall see. Bobby might go on for. You look pumped.
He's been waiting for this.
no, actually, I'm kind of curious because of Yasha, something he mentioned. So I'm more thinking about that. Yeah.
All right.
So I guess with that,
We're going to talk about The Mandalorian from here on out. And now I'm dying to know what is it, Yasha?
yeah.
So I had planned on watching The Mandalorian last night. I was really excited. I had seen a few things here and there, people about how exciting this was, and how good it was. That's all was being posted. A friend that I used to work with posted the entire surprise right there. You couldn't not miss it. And the minute I saw it, I'm still beside myself with why he would do that. Like, in my opinion, I've talked to like a couple of friends about this, and when I messaged him, I was like, dude, this post really bummed me out. Like, I haven't watched it yet. Why would you post something like this? And he was just like, oh man, I'm so sorry. I feel really bad. I waited like a day, and I'm like, a day?
Wow.
You waited a day. Like a day? I was like, dude, common courtesy would be like at least wait a weekend. At least the weekend. It came out on Friday. We're not all just sitting at home just chilling. Like, not everybody's doing that. Why would you post this? And he's just like, oh, I'm just so sorry, but I didn't really spoil anything. I was like, you spoiled everything. What are you talking about? And like to the
I
point
would
where
be so pissed.
to the point where it's like I'm honestly probably going to like at least unfollow him or hide his comments from now on. Like, I have no desire to want to like talk to him. Like, he's completely ruined. Because if he's done after that movie, I mean, who's to say he'll do it again for something else? Like, if he had done that for Endgame, I would have lost my shit. Like, I would have lost it. 10-year culmination for the ending of this decade-long, movie bonanza, and you ruin it just because you waited a fucking day. Excuse my language. Like, no, I was so beside myself. Like, I was so bothered. Like, I was just like, I was dumbfounded. And I just started messaging like some of my friends. I was just like, dude, if you I messaged my buddy. I was like, if you haven't watched this, watch it now. Like, what? And it was like 7:00 in the morning. And my buddy replied, he's like, oh, I was about to watch it tonight. I was like, watch it now. Because if this surprise gets ruined for you, you're going to be pissed. And so he did. And he was stoked. And yeah, so that was taken from me for watching the last season. So I knew he was going to show up sooner or later. And I like how he showed up. I like how it happened. I have lots of questions, but I mean, it was still really cool. I didn't know R2 was going to show up, so that was huge. But
Yeah.
that's what happened. That was my weekend.
I'm sorry that
That
your
throwing the
joy
fact
was
that the Rams
stolen.
lost today to the Jets is it's been a great fucking day.
Yeah, no, that sucks.
That does suck.
Because yeah, I normally work on Fridays, but this Friday I wasn't working. I will say though, even if I did have to work, I think I had already said to you, I was like, hey,
Oh, you did.
even if I work, I'm getting up early enough before work. I'm watching this in the morning. It's the finale. Like there's no way. I mean, not to say I'm like addicted to social media and I can't stay off social media. I totally could, but it's difficult to when you just have the habit of just going on your phone and even just scrolling through certain feeds.
Yeah.
I was having a hard time even in the couple hours before I finally got to watch it because I had to get up, take the kids to school and stuff. Like I remember at one point, it's just like an automatic. I opened Twitter
It's a
and
habit.
and as soon as I opened it, I was like, no, turn it. I closed it. I never saw
Yeah.
anything. Nothing was ruined, but
But you're just like, oh yeah.
I was like, oh god, I could see something. like it's happened. I think before the Ahsoka episode, I
Yeah.
opened my Instagram feed, and I think no offense to like anybody, well, it was like Boss Logic. He posted an image that he had done of Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka, and we hadn't seen what she looks like yet.
Right.
And as soon as I opened that, I remember that morning, I was like, oh fuck, that's right, that episode's today. I got to go watch it. But yeah, like I definitely made a point to watch it first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
As soon as I could, because it was like I can't get through the day. I know somebody's gonna ruin this, and you didn't get to watch it till that night. I watched it with you, Michelle.
I made
again,
it through the day.
and you made it through the day. It wasn't spoiled for you, I guess.
mean, surprising because I was on social media a few times throughout the day, and yeah, no, I'm glad that it wasn't because to have your joy pulled away from you, Yash, I feel so bad.
No, that sucks.
That's horrible. But no,
I was really bummed.
waited.
I was like
I would
really
be.
bummed.
I would have been.
I was really
But no,
bummed. Like
made
I
it.
said, it's like I'm probably just gonna unfollow him or at least hide his
I
comments.
would.
Like I have no
We're done
desire
now.
to see him. Like we're done, dude.
Like,
Like
we're
you
done.
moved to Vegas, and if you're gonna post shit like that. Like I mean, you're posting stupid stuff like that. I was like, that's so inconsiderate. Like you didn't even wait a weekend. You just after a weekend, I would kind of get behind that. I'm like, okay, I get it. Like that's my fault type of thing. But like common courtesy is like at least the weekend to maybe a week before you start doing it. And why are you blasting it out there on social media anyway? Like, you're an
Right.
artist, put your art out there. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I almost
Anyways.
even feel like we might have wait a day or two because it just came out Friday and tonight's Sunday night. So part of me is like, should we maybe do a separate episode on like Monday night? Because like part of me feels like we shouldn't, but we're being
But at
very
least
like
we're doing this with a warning.
we're giving warnings. Yeah. So, but no, I'm glad that I got to watch it. I did eventually get to watch it at the end of the day on Friday. Thank God. So no, it was awesome.
I don't know where to begin
I don't
with
even
it.
know.
I mean, I know, Bobby, looks like you wanted to say something.
And yeah, I was going to say that we've actually said we were going to talk spoilers, but we actually haven't
haven't yet.
said anything. But
You said R2.
I mean,
we spoiled R2.
Yeah.
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 So this was the culmination. I heard someone describe this episode as like really the third act of 2 seasons. And I was like, yeah, because it was really
Yeah.
kind of from the opening scene, it was pedal to the metal kind of really. It wasn't
was.
much lag of anything. And this whole season has just been building up to this moment of fulfilling this mission of getting Grogu to his destination and to get him to someone who can help him besides himself. He was quested to return him to the Jedi or give him to the Jedi to be able to help him. And that Jedi being none other than the one that we've known and grown up with is Luke Skywalker. And I gotta say,
Fitting.
seeing him, for me, going up to this and leading up to this, from the moment that they were talking about a Jedi, and even when we got the episode where he put out the call where Grogu went into that trance and sent out the signal kind of thing, I never let myself believe or think that they would go with Luke Skywalker. And part of me didn't want that, honestly, because I felt like we've been doing such a good job of introducing new characters and finally getting away from the Skywalker stuff that I was like, this is good. Now this is even keel and a playing field for everyone so that everyone doesn't have to complain about start every time you start to bring up Skywalker, you either going to start bringing up something negative that you didn't like if you weren't a fan of The Last Jedi, or something negative that you didn't like if you didn't like Rise of Skywalker. So it's like, for me, I was ready to move beyond that stuff and move past it and get into a point where everyone is happy, which everyone, for the most part, seems to be happy with the series and the direction it's taken. So I didn't want to introduce something back into it that would get everyone divisive and divided again. So, the idea to me just was not that. And I was looking to see it would be someone else. But once he showed up and once, I realized who it was before that actual reveal, I think when I initially saw the X-Wing fly in, I thought it might have been the Carson guy that was been in a couple of the episodes, who's with the Republic, and thinking like he kind of came to help in some sort of way. And maybe that there was more ships coming, but he kind of was the first to get there. But then once Grogu's ears perked up, I immediately knew, because why would he get like all, excited or whatever just at the sight of an X-Wing? And there's only one other person I knew who has an X-Wing that would be able to fit that bill. So when he shows up and then you see the green lightsaber and just everything that happens within that, I couldn't help it. I just was like, oh. And the eyes were red afterwards, and then R2 shows up and they get more red. And it was just something that I didn't think I wanted or needed, but yet it brought out a kid version of me that had missed this character in that iteration. It was like, CG effects aside, it was like being able to see Luke Skywalker from Return of the Jedi and pick up from that point of time and be that kid when I saw Return of the Jedi, and almost like not having missed a beat and seeing that character again, but yet knowing that it's been years. And so there was all that going through. And then, of course, you get, because he's there, it's bittersweet, because you know that once he's there, he's going to take Grogu. And so much of the show has been the relationship between Din Djarin and Grogu. And so to see that separation, that hits you as well. So there's so much going on there with the emotions, and they played it up just right. And Peyton Reed directed this episode, which they had not said leading up to it. I'm not really sure why they didn't say that he was directing this episode, but I just thought he did a fantastic job with it in terms of just the pacing of it and the action and everything that was led up to this moment and to fulfill this mission. So now it does leave questions, and I'm not sure exactly what questions Yasha has, but it does, in a general sense, leave you with questions, because you don't know, now that this is done, is this the last that we see of Din and Grogu together, or do they flash forward and we get them together after some time has passed that happened off screen? There's so many other questions, but just as a whole, I so enjoyed this season because the first season laid the foundation, and to me, that first season really was not necessarily in this sense, but it was like a proof of concept that Star Wars can work on the small screen. And it established that base of like, hey, you can get this and still feel like you're getting Star Wars, and it doesn't feel off-putting or weird because it's on TV. And it builds from that within the story of what they've set up for him to do with Grogu, and then just him having these own lone adventures and trying to get to that point from point A to point B. And now that we're there, it means, is there a whole new book or chapter for The Mandalorian that will now be something else and something to do completely different with some of the other Mandalorians that he's encountered to this point. So I'm overall really happy with the second season. I think it definitely built upon the first season, and it just became appointment watching every week, so much so that because of what you all said in terms of spoilers. That's why I would watch it at midnight or watch it in the first thing in the morning when I woke up, to get up a little bit earlier just to knock it out, because I didn't want to have that affect anything that happened in these episodes to be spoiled, because there was a lot of spoilery stuff this season that happened because they were introducing characters we've seen from Clone Wars and some of the other material that's out there. So it felt like this was the first thing I've seen in a while, maybe since Game of Thrones, where I really felt like I needed to watch it as soon as it dropped. And so I loved having that feeling, and it's going to be sad to see it go and not come back for a year, but I'm happy that it ended in a way that has me still excited for the show for once it returns.
It's kind of crazy to think that we're spoiled with the idea that now it sucks that where it's like almost basically a full year's till we'll see like anything, probably live action Star Wars, or really anything Star Wars, I guess, at that point.
Yeah.
Right.
Which, I mean, I guess it feels weird considering how much stuff they just announced.
Yeah.
And then coming off of this season, which has been so good, and they go, oh man, like it's going to be a year. Like, I mean, we went years and years and years and years and years and years and years without Star Wars anything, you know, those of us who
We've been spoiled the last 10 years.
Yeah, we've been spoiled a little bit, but yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed the season. I thought it was, as much as I enjoyed the first season, I thought the second season was even better. Because as much as I enjoyed that first season, I still felt like maybe there was one or two episodes that were just kind of they could have been better. I didn't find that to be the case at all in season 2. Even for me, with episodes like the second episode, which I still thoroughly enjoyed, even if it was more of a just kind of a filler in the journey. But yeah, I mean, I thought the season was great. I thought the final episode was great. I think, you know, when the Ahsoka episode happened and she kind of gave that instruction about sending him to that planet to, you know, to send that signal out to the Jedi. I mean, my first thought, I think probably a lot of our first thought was like, it's got to be Luke. And like, just knowing what Luke is up to at this point, you know, from what we know of canon, it just seems like that made sense to me. And I kept hearing stuff about Mace Windu, which really kind of threw me off, and I still don't really understand that logic, and obviously that ended up not being the case. But yeah, I mean, I don't really have anything else to add that you haven't already said, Bobby, but I had a great time watching it. I couldn't wait to watch it again that night with you. I thought it was fantastic. And yeah, I don't understand, sorry, real quick, like the decision to not mention the director, you know, seemed odd. I mean, you know, to not do that, we talked about this in a previous podcast episode, like to do that seemed like you were really setting us up for like a major director that you didn't want to spoil.
Right.
Like, and for it to end up being Peyton Reed, nothing against Peyton Reed, he's great, but he's directed an episode this season already. Yeah. Like, what's the big surprise there?
Right.
I'm not really sure, but I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I was really excited to watch the episode, and no, I thought the episode itself, the last episode was really, really well done. Again, like you guys have said, the pacing of it just unfolds the story beautifully. And like the moment the X-Wing flies into view, I was like, oh, it's gonna be Luke. It's gonna be Luke. And it's funny because like David had already watched it, and I could tell he was excited again upon the second viewing to see Luke come in. And I don't know if it was like excited for that or excitement for me to figure it out and see it. Both. I don't know, but
no, it's just even so well handled.
We're so excited.
The score at that point of the episode, it could have been handled badly. It definitely was not.
It definitely was not. Like to see that X-Wing pull in,
works.
It does work. To see it pull in, and then to see him come the cloak, and then you see a hand with a glove, and then you see a hand without a glove, and then you see the green lightsaber. I'm like, this beautiful, just beautifully done. And I feel bad that Yasha didn't know.
I'm not negating any of that. It was still absolutely gorgeous to watch it fly, and don't get it wrong. Like once I saw it, it's frustrating because I knew exactly who it was. And honestly, I probably would have picked up on it the minute I saw the green lightsaber. Like I would have been like, that's got to be Luke. That's the only thing that I can think of. How is it Luke is my question, because it just doesn't make sense in the timeline for me. In my understanding, I just don't understand it. I just don't get it, because it's clearly after all the events that have happened and whatnot, and I don't understand the timeline. I just don't.
Well, David and Bobby definitely know, and they could fill everybody in. They know much more because they've read more of the books and know more of the canon that's happening in the storyline for sure. But I just want to touch on real quick before you guys start talking about canon and where everything is. The music in this is so well done. Like, it's funny to me, the music even for, and I forgot what they were, the big black droids, the Dark Troopers. The music that they have on for the Dark Troopers,
it's like techno kind of.
Dude, that was sweet. Like that music when I was like, okay, this is cool. Like this is like updated Star Wars. Like it just, I was like, I'm down with this. Like this is awesome. It just fit so well. It was just so good. It was such a great episode. It really, really was. And it just, overall, I'm very happy with it. I could change nothing in that episode. Like even like the moment when Gina, I can't think of her name now. Carano. Her gun, locks up and she's trying to get the jam out. And then she finally gets done. And then she like just swings it over Ming-Na's head really fast. And like she ducks. And then it's like she just starts going to town. I was like, this is such a sweet shot. Like it's so awesome. I don't know. The episode is great. But no, David and Bobby know way more about canon and where we are in the time frame of all this.
I mean, what are we at for? We're 4 or 5 years after Return of the Jedi, right?
Assumedly 5.
5. And I mean, you've definitely consumed more of the canon novels than I have. If anything, my kind of knowledge of some of the stuff we've seen in this season, including what Operation Cinder, which is referenced in the episode before this, come from Battlefront 2. And we see Luke in that game that he's kind of out kind of collecting like Jedi knowledge and collecting like Jedi artifacts and such at this time.
Because he's gathering all that stuff because he does want to teach. He wants to find more Jedi to become Padawans to teach them. Like he wants to start a school, right? So he's collecting like books, artifacts, just anything of historical reference to the Jedi.
Yeah, I guess so. Basically, yeah. Like, I mean, so that's why as soon as Ahsoka mentioned, hey, take Grogu to this place and do this thing. Like, I don't know, just knowing that that's probably what Luke is up to, that he's out there kind of looking for people who might be force sensitive and looking for Jedi information. Like, it's got to be him that, that responds to this kind of message. If there's one Jedi who's really like out there looking for this kind of signal, it would be him. But Bobby, if there's other stuff, I'm sure you could probably fill in.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think you and Michelle did a pretty good job there, and I don't really have anything to add. I mean, that's exactly what's going on in the time frame and what Luke is up to at this point. I don't believe he has started his Jedi Academy just yet, but I think it's still pretty close to that time frame where he would have started it.
So this is just 3 or 4 years after the events of the Return of the Jedi.
Yeah,
5 years. Yeah,
5 years after the events of Return of the Jedi.
There's something so cool about the idea that now Luke is teaching a creature that is the child version of the creature Yoda that taught him. Right. Like it's such an amazing, awesome full circle. Like it just, like there was just this moment at the end of the show when he's holding him, and I'm just like, God dang, this is such a, like it just the puzzle pieces, it just fits so well. Like that he would teach a being that taught him. Like that's just, dang.
See, maybe I was confused because I thought that these events were taking place after the events of the last movies that we saw.
Okay. Yeah, in which case, Luke would make no sense.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I mean, it would make no sense. sense. I'm just like, no, doesn't make any sense. But now that would make sense. Okay.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
all
that's why the stormtroopers that we see in this still look like the classic trilogy stormtroopers. 'Cause
Okay.
it's only been about 5 years since the second Death Star was destroyed.
Got it. Okay.
And what Force
That makes sense.
Awakens, when that comes around, that's what, like 30 years after?
Yeah,
something like that. Yeah.
30 years after Return of the Jedi, pretty
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of time to fill in there.
So, I mean,
which they
as-
did on purpose.
As Mandalorian continues and as whatever other shows that we are going to get, I mean, I say whatever other shows, we've just got a huge announcement of a bunch of them. But I know now I one of the main questions not so much a question that I want to answer, but the information I definitely am dying to see filled in is what we've already kind of started to see start, which is this information about getting blood and midichlorians, I guess, from Grogu and the cloning, which seems to kind of lead into Snoke and Palpatine. And I look forward to Favreau and Filoni and everyone else at Lucasfilm kind of filling in this information in such a way that will maybe make the episodes 7, 8, and 9 films sit better with me in a way.
Yeah, I agree.
And I don't know how exactly they'll do that, but I have a feeling they will. And I'm just hoping that that is seen through to a place that I think is going to happen.
That would be great.
Yeah.
That's the dream.
What I think is that what would happen is maybe something similar to the way that the Clone Wars series did for the prequel series, in that it helps fill in some of those gaps. It doesn't necessarily make those movies any better, but it just gives it a little bit more nuance and gives it a little more exposition in terms of the entirety of what's going on, as we only saw, slivers of that as you see those first 3 prequels. So maybe that will help in this way in terms of giving some more context and backstory to some of the things that we saw in 7, 8, and 9 that just don't seem to necessarily add up in a straight line or in a good way. And that definitely to me, bears some fruit with the whole cloning thing and what they use Grogu's blood for, because at one point in time, I forget when it was said, but the idea that they can clone, they've done that, they know that, but they haven't been able to clone and have Jedi abilities within a clone. And so that was the whole purpose of wanting Palpatine to come back, is that he needed his abilities as well, as not just to be just some regular chancellor again. He needs his full Jedi, well, not Jedi, but Sith abilities and stuff. So yeah, I think that we'll get into that a little bit more, because he did already pull that blood, and I imagine sent it off to wherever he needed to send it to. And I again, just sort of projecting, the fact that they did not kill off Moff Gideon, to me, suggests that at some point he'll probably get away and escape, and that'll come back around and stuff.
That was pretty key. I will say there was one point watching the episode the whole time going, somebody just knock him unconscious. Like, why did we just not knock the man unconscious yet?
Why is he still awake?
Why is he still conscious and talking? And like, you just hit him with a gun, knock him out. Like, it was the one. If I had one thing in this episode, that was the one thing that I went, somebody just knock his nights out and just make him go to sleep. Shut him up.
And why am I blanking on that actor's name right now? What's his name?
Giancarlo
Esposito.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a 3-name name.
He's amazing.
And he's a bad guy in so many things. He's like the best bad guy ever. Did you guys
Cue
see
Yasha at this moment.
Did you guys see the tweet he put out?
I said cue Yasha at this moment.
Did you guys see the tweet
he's in Breaking Bad. He's a fantastic actor. He's fantastic in Breaking Bad.
Okay. All right, well, now I'm going to watch Breaking Bad. I didn't know that.
You know that's not even the first thing that I remember seeing him in. I mean, aside from all the Spike Lee movies, because he's done a couple with Spike Lee, one of the first things that I remember really seeing him in, and him really just like being stuck in my head as his talent, was this movie called Fresh. We've talked about it on the show before. Bobby, you've mentioned it, I'm sure, as well, because I mean, it's a damn good like street movie. Like it's really, really dark, really, really good. If you've never seen it, I just encourage you to watch it because it's basically the entire movie is like a chess move. Like it has a lot of big actors in it. Like Samuel L. Jackson's in it before he was really Samuel L. Jackson. But it's and Giancarlo Esposito's in it as well, and he crushes it in that movie. But he's just as dark and good, if not better, in Breaking Bad. In all honesty, like he's fantastic.
Oh,
like he really is. And
he's
I'm
fantastic.
not even trying to be funny. Like he's just you watch it and you're just like he is so methodical and just so brilliant in that show. Like it's that's what I think has catapulted his level of success now that everybody like the go-to bad guy is now like, hey, let's see if Giancarlo's free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's also in The Boys as well.
Yep.
Yes, he is.
He just showed up in this second season. And I think the first things I remember seeing him in were the Spike Lee movies. Specifically, I think I saw School Days first. And he was like the leader of a fraternity, Dean Big Brother Almighty, as they call it in the movie. And then, he was just always a presence, and you could just see even early on that he's just such a skilled actor and can bring it in any format that he's put in.
He really is. He's so talented. I mean, like I've encouraged you before to watch Breaking Bad. It's like I just feel like if you watch it like with him in it, he's fantastic. Bobby will attest to it. Like I'm not even trying to be funny here. Like when I'm trying to be funny and talk shit on you guys, but now it's just like it's just being.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
just
now
being
that
serious.
Mandalorian's wrapped up, David's found another hour in the week that he can do something with.
Oh no, I've been like watching Clone Wars. Like,
Oh, he has been watching Clone Wars. That's true. No, I was gonna say. So I guess that's not so much a tweet that he put out, but he, I guess, kind of showed like some text between him and his daughter.
Yeah.
He loves being a bad guy so much. Like his daughter was like, "Man, if you do anything to that child," she writes to in a text like, "Dad, if you do anything to that child, like I don't know how you can live with yourself." And he was just like,
Giancarlo?
"Honey," like yeah. And so his response was just like, "Oh, honey, like it's." He's like, this is what my character does, da 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 da. And like he kind of like goes on and all things, and then it turns really quick, and he just goes, and if I want that child's blood or any powers that child has, I will dismember him piece by piece if that's what I have to do with him. Like he like goes on and just this horrible thing like of him like torturing the child.
Nice.
And I'm just like,
Yeah.
the man owns being a bad guy, and he loves it, and he's very okay with it. And I think it just makes him an even cooler person / actor to be like, I'm the bad guy, I'm good at it, sue me. It's just great.
anything anybody else wants to discuss?
Yeah.
Bobby's like,
I assume-
let me get my list out.
No. It's not honestly not that long. And in fact, it's pretty much the only other thing I had to say is just to make sure that we all did see that post-credit scene, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So
So
the book of Boba
there
Fett.
had been a little bit of confusion as to that announcement because it wasn't made at the Investor Day. And so people were wondering if this new series for Boba Fett would take over The Mandalorian or if it was something separate. And then they did actually end up putting out something saying that these are two separate series. So I am very curious because they had announced that we had the, Rangers of the Republic, and then the Ahsoka series, and also season 3 of Mandalorian. And now you have this Boba Fett series. And they said something about culminating together into some sort of big event. So if all that, and they said it was supposed to be by next Christmas. So does that mean some of these series are going to start early next year, or are they all starting at the same time and start off that way? I don't understand that timeline in terms of
I guess I
when
hadn't
those
thought
other
about that.
series are supposed to start.
I don't know.
So
Good question.
yeah.
Disney's still holding
I will
two
say
cards
that-
up their sleeve.
Yeah, exactly. I will say that the one thing that I am happy about is that there is new Star Wars stuff for me that since I like to get into the novels and that come out, they do have a new novel starting next month that takes place in the High Republic. And I've been anxious to get into that because it's just a completely different era for Star Wars. It takes place 200 years before what I guess you might say the Phantom Menace. And so it's going to be interesting seeing new stories, new Jedi, new bad guys, just a completely different stuff within the Star Wars universe that's canon. So I love all that, and I'm looking
I guess
forward
technically
to it.
Yoda would be around then, huh?
Yeah, he would. I mean,
He
I
would
don't
just
know
be
that
like
he
a
shows up in those
teenager.
books or not.
He'd be like in his early 20s.
Yeah.
He'd still be pretty old. He'd be at
he
least
lives to be 500
600 and
older.
something.
Yeah.
But like
No,
we say,
'cause-
like the child's like 50, right? So if you think about that, like he'd be like in his
Well,
20s.
Yoda died when he was 900, and
Oh,
this
that's
takes
right. He was
place
way
200
long- okay.
prior, so he's
So
at
he
least
was
six
having his
something,
midlife
seven
crisis
something.
at that point.
Sure. Yeah.
I want to know if he's going to talk like Yoda. I want to know if his
I
language is
wonder
bit-
if he'll
yeah.
talk at all.
No, I mean, I'm with you on that. It's like, I mean, that too. It's like, but I want to know if he's actually gonna talk like Yoda, or is he gonna have, what kind of voice he's gonna have, if he's gonna do any of that, if we'll ever even see him again.
Right.
Because this,
I
by
mean,
all
yeah.
accounts, is a very nice wrap up.
My first thought
Yeah.
has been that when we do see him again, which I don't think, I think it'll be a little bit before we see him again in The Mandalorian. And that's been my first guess, is that when we finally do, it'll be the first time we hear him like utter a word.
Yeah.
Like it'll still be like
Yeah.
a child talking, but
Probably.
I feel like that's kind of a, I don't know, kind of a setup I could see happening, that, Din Djarin runs into him again and now he's like speaking.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Man, that's crazy. So many possibilities.
Yeah. Who knows? I mean, yeah, we talked about this offline. Like, what kind of gap are we going to get between, this season and next season? I would imagine it's not going to be much of one. I don't think they're going to pull hey,
5 years later.
I don't think it's going to be too far. I also don't think it's going to be like immediate. Like, hey, we're going to just, go right on the bridge and see what happens. As much as I am curious to see what would happen on the bridge after all that took place, because there is an obvious,
so
setup
now
here
what?
about the Darksaber and what's going on between Bo-Katan and Din Djarin, and now he has that saber.
Yeah.
I would love to be a fly on the wall on the bridge and go, okay, Luke just left, so what's gonna happen now? Like,
Drama. Don't
Seriously.
you know they're gonna split the sea here, and they're gonna start? It's gonna be a
Right.
thing.
Yeah.
um,
Friction,
I'm
for
with you.
sure.
I know it definitely leaves on a what's happening on that side of the. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways,
but
good show.
anybody got anything else before we wrap things up? We've gone on for a little while.
Yeah.
It's a Christmas party.
It's a Christmas party.
Office Christmas party. What?
With that, guys, we won't be talking again on the show until after Christmas. So I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. And yeah, we haven't even talked about doing a top 10 show this year.
I was wondering
Oh,
about
we
that.
have to do a top 10
Like,
show.
if we're doing a top 10 show, man, I've got some serious binge watching to me. Like, I mean, I feel like I barely watched any movies. I can't even imagine putting together a top 10 list this year.
I don't know.
I could see our top 10 list being where, well, we're going to fill in as many as we can. And mine ends up being like a top 3.
Well, so
I just keep like,
Tenet,
every time we 9, I pass 9. I pass on 8. I'll throw a
he'll
movie
eventually
in.
we'll get to 3, and he'll say something. He'll be like, "Oh yeah, Wonder Woman 84, number 1. Oh yeah, Tenet," and then he'll be like, "Up, there's the year."
Yeah, and it's going to be, that's this year more than ever.
And that's
I mean,
why
you guys
we should
know
do
I
a list.
binge at the end, but still, like,
But that's why we should do
Yeah.
a list. 2020 has been such a. We should do a list just to shove it in 2020's face that we are diligent and we take what we do seriously as much as we enjoy it.
I don't think I'll have a problem coming up with 10.
no, you won't have a problem. You've watched plenty of stuff. I have not. I definitely have not watched nearly enough to even imagine putting together a top 10
We've
list.
watched at least 10 films.
And I'm not saying 5 of those would not be on a top 10.
I acknowledge that. I'm just simply stating that we've watched at least 10
Have
films.
we watched 10 films though?
Well, they've just been digitally released.
I don't know. Anyway, with that, we are going to wrap things up and get out of here. As always, we would love to hear back from everyone listening and watching. You can email us at feedback@flickereffect.com. You can reach out to us at flicker_effect at both Twitter and Instagram. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, please make sure to comment down below if you have any questions or comments. Like and subscribe. Hit that bell icon to be notified whenever we post any videos or go live in the future. With that, I'm David Lott.
I'm Bobby Jackson.
I'm Yasha Wilson.
Merry Christmas, everybody. I'm Michelle Hillard.
Thanks for listening and watching.